It is Thursday, August the 19th, 2021, somewhere around 8:15 a.m. here locally in southern Arizona. This is the first in what I will attempt to be a series of videos or audio recordings to capture the events that are occurring in my life at that time. I attempted to start a podcast in January of this year so that it was like at the beginning of the year. I just thought how optimum. But I found that what was occurring was so esoteric that it was challenging for me to find ways that were interesting to capture what was going on, and I didn't really have a concept in mind. I just knew that I could pick a topic and I could talk. I'm really good at that. I've been doing it most of my life. The thing is, it just didn't ever feel right. So I went back and deleted everything. I kept the audios, of course, stored somewhere offline, but I closed off all of these new products I had set up to begin podcasting. Well, this summer has had so much happen so fast that, in I don't want to say tangible ways, in subjective ways that could be described, and some of them even offered with evidence. But the thing is, if you, let's say, have a significant event that takes 15 minutes to an hour, and it includes lots of layers, to tell that tale and provide media support, it takes such a significant amount of time, days really, to prepare it all, at least in my case, because I Photoshop the images, usually edit the videos so that I can, record things on my screen and then take out the part where you're trying to set up the recording part and, fade in, fade out, that kind of stuff. Line up the audio when it was out of sync in the original recording, stuff like that. And by that time, 10 more things have happened that are as significant and interesting, but you just don't have any way compelling to capture it all quickly. So I thought that I would try this because, again, as I said, so much is happening so quickly. It's just amazing. I don't know where all these butterflies are coming from all of a sudden, but they're everywhere. They weren't here in the 10 minutes I sat here thinking about how to begin this process. I also want to keep them short enough that they are consumable in nice bite-sized pieces, because even I am someone who will only watch something that's more than 5 or 10 minutes if I can either watch it, stop it, and pick it up later if it's interesting enough, or, it's got my attention so significantly that I want to keep watching it. But for the most part, if it's longer than that and it doesn't have my interest, I just, I stop watching it. I never finish it. I've got a very short attention span these days because I have so much I want to consume, so much I'm interested in, and I do research every day on various topics. For example, the homeowner has this corporation that he's named Kokopelli, and he then came over on the 19th of July and sat with me for an hour, maybe a little longer than an hour, and we just chatted. He's exactly 30 years old and I'm 62. So there was a lot to talk about that, from both of our generations. And he was interesting and he found what I was talking about interesting. So I started doing research on what was Kokopelli. Things like that turn up for me every day. So where to begin here? I thought I would do it week by week and just take what happened in that week, because I could go back, as I said, for a really long time. You wouldn't believe what's happened to me this summer alone. That's really part of the reason why I've decided to do this. Last Saturday was the 14th of August, which was the 5th anniversary of an experience I had that introduced me to what I now call the Oliver frequency, just for fun. It was a frequency that was later described and defined for me as being one of unconditional love. Now, when I think of unconditional love, it's not the same as most people, because to me, unconditional love has little to do with individuals or experiences or situations and just accepting them unconditionally. It has to do with viewing the world in a neutral state where you accept and appreciate everything that's happening because you recognize the divinity of it, however you choose to define divine. A lot of it to me has to do with compassion for life, for consciousness, for the gift of being born into a body of form to experience what is available in this significant world of form. And to me, compassion, again, has little to do with being compassionate for people, but if you break it down into the Latin, or I think it's a Greek word actually, com means to step into, and passion means, have a significant emotion or, reaction to something, that's passion. So stepping into a position of welcoming, understanding, appreciating whatever it is, whether it be a person or a situation or a job or an experience, you name it. But on the 14th, I had a series of things occur that have continued that have shown me that this frequency not only still is prevalent and active and accessible, but it is the way that whatever exists at that frequency can reach me and I it. There's so much that happened relative to the anniversary, and I've talked about that experience so many times that you can find it on the One HP website, the YouTube channel, the SoundCloud account, the Facebook page, if you search for, let's say, Oliver, or look for the date 8/14/16. That I won't rehash it here. But what I have experienced is a new phase in this epic that's called the life of Barbara. And by that I mean that I truly just acknowledge and recognize that I don't live my life the way that most people do, that we each have our own path to follow, that there is no one way, that I don't have any concerns for those who don't believe me, have detached from me because they find, what I'm going through, anything from repelling, which I was told once that, you're repelling. The experiences you have, the way that you live your life is repelling, to someone who said, I don't want to talk about those things. And I'm like, okay, well, but that's the way I live my life. So if you don't want me to talk about the way I'm living my life, what does that leave? The weather, general chit chat that I find boring, the meaningless chatter that you stereotypically see in cartoons and TV shows that women might have. I like deep, rich, concentrated discussions on topics that make you think. And as a result, this person, who happens to be a family member, stopped responding to me and hasn't talked to me in 5 years, maybe longer, probably longer. They won't answer emails. I've sent audios, videos. They won't watch them or listen to them. They tell people that they don't receive them. They even, from what I understand, told their therapist that I am the reason they went into therapy, which that's just silly. But I accept my life, my experiences, exactly the way that they are. And there's such peace in that acceptance. And I'll leave it there.